What's going on, people? It's your boy EB, Blackman. I've got a quick message for you. I might have done something similar like this on my channel already. I might use the example, I'm not too sure, but today I want to really quickly talk about Peter. I want to talk about his experience when he was on the water with Jesus and what that meant for him and what that meant for the other disciples. So everyone knows the story. The disciples are on their way somewhere when they're in a storm, in the middle of a storm. All of a sudden they see Jesus walking on the water. Peter sees Jesus and says, "Jesus, if that's you, call me to you." Jesus turns around, says to Peter, he says, "Come." Jesus says, "All right," and Peter says, "All right, cool." So he gets out of the water, starts to walk towards Jesus. But the Bible says that when he sees how boisterous the wind and the waves are, he begins to sink. Jesus reaches out, saves Peter, gets back in the boat with Peter. They get to the other side to where they were going. But I really want to think about something real quick, because, you know, the disciples were in trouble, okay? Their ship was about to sink, they were about to drown, they could have died, whatever. When Jesus gets in their boat, I guarantee you they were like, "Yeah, man, we're saved. Jesus here, thank God. Jesus, God, you've answered my prayer. You're a good, good Father," all this kind of stuff like that. Now we're on the land, thank God. But Jesus never wanted to be in that boat in the first place. Because if he wanted to be in the boat, then he would have just got straight into the boat. When he saw the disciples, he wouldn't have bothered telling people to come out onto the water. He would have just got into the boat. Jesus was on the water. Peter sees Jesus and says, "Jesus, if that's you, call me." Jesus says, "Come to me." So Peter's asked the strange thing. He's asked the big thing. He's asked God he's asked Jesus to do something that's going to use him as a demonstration. Other people are watching. They're watching Peter. Jesus has answered his prayer. Peter gets out the water, gets out of the boat onto the water. That's where Jesus wanted to be. Jesus wanted to be on the water, and he called Peter to himself to walk into the supernatural, to experience new territories and experience new dimensions in him. Now, I personally believe that if Peter was successful in this encounter with Jesus, the rest of the disciples would have seen what Peter was doing. They would have seen what Peter was walking in. They would have seen what Peter was, you know, the new places, the new territory that Peter has discovered. He can walk on water. This is the supernatural. And they would have been inspired to come out of the boat. Everyone's rejoicing because Jesus is in a boat. Hold on. Did Jesus want to be in a boat? Or did he only end up in the boat because of your lack of faith? Can I ask you that question for a second? And a question to us is, how many places has Jesus come with us? Or how many places is Jesus sitting with us and resting with us? Not because he wants to be there, but because we're not doing, or we don't have what it takes, or we're not using what he's given us to walk in the dimensions that he's calling us. So he's with us, and many people are like, "Yeah, Jesus is with me, Jesus is with me." And it's like, yeah, cool, great. Jesus is with you, but are you where he wants you to be with him, if you get what I'm saying? And so I want to use this today, this story, as an example to say this. Just as the disciples were watching Peter, is how other people, your friends, your family, your work colleagues, and all that kind of stuff, that are watching you and what you walk in and what you travel and how you travel with God. People are watching your relationship with God. And whatever God tells you to do, if you're unsuccessful in it, you void them, or you take away an encounter or revelation of who they can be and who Jesus is. If Peter was successful in that moment, other disciples would have been like, "Come, let's get out on the water as well. Let's go to where Jesus is." How many areas in our lives has God given us instruction, or God told us to do things, or we know that we should be doing certain things and moving certain ways, but we're not doing it yet? And it's like, man, you know, Jesus is cool, he'll forgive me. And it's like, yeah, okay, fair enough, Jesus will forgive you, and fair enough, Jesus will get in your boat, but that's not the perfect will of God. The perfect will of God is to have everyone come to where he is, not him to come where you are. Come on, someone in here. And so now I want us, everyone, it's time for us to get over whatever it is that's stopping us from walking with God in greater dimensions. If it's fear, fam, get into the scriptures, get into prayer, get into fasting, get rid of that fear. If it's doubt, if it's lust, if it's low self-esteem, if it's hurt, shame, guilt, whatever it is, it's time to rid ourselves of these things that are stopping us from moving in the dimensions and the places where God has called us to walk in, and begin to really demonstrate Jesus, begin to demonstrate the King's heart, and begin to demonstrate the King's power. It's time. The world is waiting for you. What are you going to do about it? Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It's your boy, El Blackman. Until the next time, stay blessed.